I'm going to show you how to make this ring. I'm calling it the elegant ring because it is elegant and I can't think of a better name for it. So this is what it looks like. This is going down the sides here and the top, and we will even make a little bit of an underside to it so that it's comfortable to wear and it doesn't collapse. This is a fairly simple ring to make. It's right angle weave because we are putting more, a little bit more into it on the bottom here and stuff. It raises it up from very, very basic, but it is pretty simple. It doesn't take long to make, and it's quite pretty. So this is what this looks like. Show you what it looks like on my finger. That's what it looks like on. It's really quite pretty. And I will show you what we're going to need to make this ring. Now, with this ring, you could use several different kinds of beads. You don't have to use what I'm using. But today, in this one, I used cat's eyes. Today, I'm going to use a druck. Now, anything 6 millimeter round is going to work. A pearl will work. A fire polish bead will work. The cat's eye works fine. Whatever you have, a crystal, 6 millimeter round crystal would be really pretty in there too. Anything that's 6 millimeter round can be your main bead. And you're going to need 9 of them. Then you will need 2 colors of crystals, Bicone 4 millimeter. Now, you will need 12 of one and 8 of the other. I'm using an air blue opal Swarovski crystal for my 12 crystals, and then for my 8, I'm using an opaque turquoise Swarovski crystal. And then you will need an 11-0 seed bead, a couple grams, and a couple grams of an 8-0 seed bead. I'm using Toho's galvanized silver for both of them. Then you will need a needle and a full wingspan of 8-pound Fireline. Now we're going to start with a full wingspan simply because of the fact that we're going to sew through these beads a whole lot to make them strong. Rings take a lot of abuse, so you really want to sew through this and make them as strong as possible. I am using a size 10 English beading needle. And let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to start by picking up 4 drucks and 4 8-0 seed beads. So we're going to start with a druck and then do a series of druck, 8-0, druck, 8-0, druck, 8-0, and druck. Or of course, whatever 6 millimeter round you're using. Doesn't have to be a druck. This is what you will have onto your needle. You will have 4 6 millimeter rounds, 4 8-0s. Start with your round, end with your 8-0. And then bring them down to the end of your thread. You do not have to leave a long tail, but enough to hold on to. And then bring your needle around to the very first bead you added. Go through the first and second bead on your thread. And then hold on to your tail and your bead and pull. And pull them into a circle like this and move them down. Now we're going to sew all the way around until we get to where our tail is exiting. So just bring your needle through and just sew through all of your beads. When we get to where we are right next to our working tail, pull everything tight and then tie a knot with the working thread and the tail. Just like that. And then we're going to go, our tail is right here, we're going to go into this 8-0 and this druck just to get away from our tail for the moment. Come up through this druck here, and now I'm going to go through the little 8-0 right here. Now we're going to put little bead on top here. So how we're going to do that is we are going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and a drug and 2 11-0 seed beads, just like this. Now we're coming out of this 8-0 seed bead right here. Get a little bit closer. We're coming out of this side. Now we're going to go into the opposite 8-0 seed bead in the opposite side from which we're exiting on this side. So we're coming out here. We're going to go into this side here. Pull your beads down on top of the other beads like this. Now we're going to secure this little bead on top, and the way we're going to do that is we are going to pick up 1 11-0 seed bead, and we're coming out of this 8-0 right here. We're going to skip this 11-0 and we're going to go into the 11-0 underneath it and the drug and the 11-0 right after the drug, and we're going to pull through. So now we are coming out of this little 11-0 right after the drug on top here. Okay, we have 11-0 underneath it coming from the 8-0 seed bead here on the bottom. We're not going to go through this little 8-0 or through this little 11-0 here. We're going to pick up another 11-0. We originally came out of this side of the 8-0. We're going to go into the other side of the 8-0, just like this. So this is what it will look like when you're through. Then, on both sides. Then you will go into your drug right next to where you just finished putting your little picot on there, and then come up through the 8-0 also. Now we are going to pick up our 12. We have 2 colors of Bicone Crystals. We're going to start with the one that we have 12 colors of, which will be the air blue opal for me. So you're going to pick up a 4mm Bicone, and then an 11-0 seed bead, and then a 6mm round, an 11-0 seed bead, and a 4mm Bicone. So this is what you're going to have on your needle. You're coming out of this side of your 8-0 seed bead. You're going to go into the opposite side, and you're going to pull your thread through and bring these beads down against the 8-0 that you're coming out of. And then we're simply going to go into the drug you're right next to here, and up into the 8-0 seed bead on this side here. Pull everything tight. Now pick up another 4mm Bicone, an 11-0 seed bead, a 6mm round, an 11-0 seed bead, and a 4mm Bicone, like this. We are coming out of this side of our 8-0. We're going to go into the opposite side of the 8-0 and pull. Turn the work. Wish that 8-0 or that AB effect was on all sides of these little beads. That would be nice, but it's not. So I keep trying to turn them so that you can see it, but you know. Anyway, now we're coming out of this 8-0 here. We're going to go into the drug and into the next 8-0. And this is where your tail is too. So I'm just going to cut my tail off now because it's just going to continue getting in my way. So I'm just going to cut this off. And then I am going to add my 4mm Bicone, 11-0 seed bead, drug, 11-0 seed bead, and 4mm Bicone. And I'm coming out of this side of my 8/0, I'm going to go into this side of the 8/0 and pull. And again, we're going to go into the next drug and the next 8/0 seed bead, pull tight, and try not to create a slip knot. There we go. And do the same thing again. Pick up a 4mm bicone, a 11/0 seed bead, drag, 11/0 seed bead, and a 4mm bicone, just like this. When we're coming out of this side of our 8/0, we're going to go into the opposite side again and pull. And this is what it should look like. Now this one's all loose, so we are going to sew into this drug right next to it and the 8/0 seed bead again. And you can come on up out through the bicone. If you can get it all in one stroke, that's fine. Then we are coming out of this bicone right here. Now we're going to hop up into this little 11/0 seed bead. And before you do this, make sure everything's nice and tight and neat. Go up into your little 11/0 that's on top of this Bicone crystal here. Go through the drug and then through the 11/0 again on the other side of the drug, just like this. I'm going to back off because I cannot stay in frame. Now we're going to use the other color of Bicone crystals. We're coming out of the 11/0 seed bead next to the drug here. We're going to pick up a Bicone crystal and we are going to go into the 11/0 on the next drug here, just like this, and pull. Then we're going to pick up the 11/0 seed bead next to the next drug here. Go through it and then pick up a Bicone crystal and go into the next 11/0 and drug. Now it's hard to get the drug on the other side, or the 11/0 on the other side of the drug, so you can just do that in your next step, so you don't have to try to do them all at once. Now this is going to start doming your piece of work as you put these on. So you might want to just hold your finger up underneath the top beads here and let it dome around your finger. Then pick up your 11/0 and a 4mm bicone. Go into the next 11/0 and drug and pull, just like that. And then again, pick up, well, go through your 11/0 first, like that. And then pick up your 4mm bicone and go into the next 11/0 and drug. Just like that. And pull these tight. Now I'm going to turn this over, and what we're going to do now is we're going to add 11/0 seed beads between each of these beads to draw it together and sturdy it a little bit. So we're going to pick up 4 11/0 seed beads onto our needle, and we're going to travel from drug to drug, just like this, and pull. And then again, 4 11/0 seed beads, travel from drug to drug. And we will do this all the way around, from drug to drug. One more time. Okay, and once you get to this point, then you are going to begin to sew all the way around this twice. So we're just going to go into our 11 O's and our drugs, and we're just going to make this base nice and strong by just sewing all the way around the entire piece of work a couple of times, just to make sure that it's nice and sturdy. So make sure you go through all of your seed beads and all of your drugs and secure your piece of work very nicely. To get to where you started, and go ahead and go through your next section of 11 O's and your drug again. Now you can do that a couple of times to save time. I'm just going to do that this far, and I'm going to start my next step here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bottom base. If you look into this ring, you can see that there's an undercarriage here that I created to keep my ring from collapsing and to make it more comfortable on my hand. So this is what we're going to create now. So how we're going to do that is we are coming out of our druck right here. Now we want to make sure we're not coming out of any of the 11 O's that we just added. We're going to pick up 3 11 O's, I think it's 3, let me make sure, 3 11 O's and an 8 O, and then 3 11 O's. Just like this. We are coming out of this druck on this side. We're going to go into the opposite side of the same druck that we are exiting. Just go right back into it. Try not to pick up any of the 11 O's on the other side. And pull. This will just create a little loop around the druck. Then sew into your 11 O's and move yourself over to your next druck, like this. Make sure you're just exiting the druck. You don't want to include these 11 O's over here on this step, not until you're sewing to the next one. So pick up 4 11 O's, or I'm sorry, 3 11 O's. I always want to add an extra one on there. 3 11 O's, an 8 O, and 3 11 O's. Just like this. And then you're coming out of this side, you're going to go into the other side of the druck and pull through. And I did include a couple 11 O's, which is okay because we're going to sew through them anyway. So just when you're coming out, right before you put your little thing on, make sure you don't pick up any 11 O's, because then your ring will pull funny. So now I'm going to do the same thing again. 3 11 O's, an 8 O, and 3 11 O's. And we're coming out of this side. We're going to go into the opposite side of the druck, come through, and pull. Then go through the next one, all 4 11 O's and into the next druck, and do the same thing again. 3 11 O's, an 8 O, and 3 11 O's. Okay, then I'm going to go into the opposite side of my druck and pull just like this. Now I need to get over to this bead on top here. So what I'm going to do, just to secure this one nicely, I am going to sew through the 4 11 O's in between here, and then I'm going to go through the druck, and then I am going to go through these 3 11 O's and through the 8 O and exit the 8 O on top here. So I'm going to do this in 2 strokes. just like that. Now, we're going to bend these little guys in like this. And we are just going to sew through the 8 O's and connect them together. So we're going to go into, we're coming out of this 8 O here, we're going to go into the next 8 O in the next unit. And just the 8 O. And pull the thread through. And then we're going to grab the next 8 O and just the 8 O and pull the thread through. And then the next one, of course. Pull the thread through. And then the one that we started in. And pull the thread through. Now pull these together tight. And then we will need to sew through this little unit that we've just created with our 4 8 O's. We need to sew through this twice. And then we will sew back down our little 11 O's and out a drug. So go ahead and secure this twice. And we'll be back. Okay, so I have sewn through and secured my 4 little 8 O's in the middle and twice. And now I'm just going to kind of push this whole undercarriage I just created in so that it kind of goes in with my dome here, like this. Now I'm going to sew up, I'm coming out of this 8 O here, I'm going to sew up these little 11 O's right here. And then I am going to come out of this druck here. And just the druck. Avoid any 11 O's on either side. Just like that. And this is what you should have so far. This is the top of your ring. Okay, so we are coming out of this little druck right here. Now we want to make our band, but I would like to have my band over here centered on either side of my little 4mm or of my little 11 O seed beads, the little 4 unit that I made on either side. So I want to sew over till I get to this druck. So I am just going to go ahead, or this druck on this side, either one, it doesn't matter. Since I'm coming out right here, I'm going to sew until I get to the druck that's beneath my little embellishment on top. Right here. And then I'm just going to come through the druck and try to avoid the 11 O on either side. And just come out of the druck, just like that. Now, my band will be even with the horizontal. This is kind of creating a horizontal look, so I want to stay with that. So that's why I want to come out of this druck here. And then I'm going to pick up an 11 O seed bead, a 4mm bicone, an 8 O, a 4mm bicone, and an 8 O. I want to use the same color of my main bead here, of my bicones. And my accent color down here we'll use next. We want to start with our main color. So I'm coming out of this side. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the druck. And I'm going to try to avoid any seed beads on either side and just come through. Just like this. Now this is your connecting bead, so you're going to sew through this twice. So just grab a hold of your 11 O and your bicones and your 8 O and just sew all the way through all of the beads you just added. And then go back through the druck. Avoid the 11 O's on the other side and pull. And then come back up through the 11 O and the Bicone Crystal. And then come through the 8 O. Now you can sew through this a couple more times if you'd like. To save time, I'm just going to do it. Just secure it once like that. And now I'm coming out of my 8 O seed bead. Now I am going to pick up my accent color of my 11 O here. Or not 11 O, I'm sorry, 4mm bicone. I don't know where that came from. And then I'm going to pick up an 8 O seed bead and I'm going to pick up a 4mm bicone in my accent color, just like this. I'm coming out of this side of the 8/0 on my ring. I'm going to go through the other side and pull. And again, I'm going to sew through this entire unit that I've just added. So I'm going to go ahead and just go through all the beads, sewing and securing this unit. And you can do this twice if you'd like. The more that you sew on the band part of your ring, the better, because that's the part that gets pulled on and abused the most and is most likely to break, of course. Once you've secured it, gone all the way around, come back up through the 8/0 seed bead. And this is what we've got now. Now we're going to start doing our 8/0, we're going to start doing right angle weave to make our band with 8/0 seed beads. So this is the bead we're going to connect to. So we're going to pick up 3 8/0s, just like this. We're coming out of this side, we're going to go into the opposite side and pull. Then we're going to secure this entire unit. So all the way around all the beads you just added. This is very important that you have good tension, that the units are nice and neat. So sew through one bead at a time to retain the shape of your little unit, and just sew through it twice. And then add your next unit. Pick up 3 more 8/0 seed beads. You're coming out of this side, you'll go into the opposite side, pull your beads down, and secure this unit by sewing around it once or twice. And then come out the top and start your next unit. You are going to make, and depending upon the size you want, you will make several units. But you have to realize that on the other side of your ring, you're going to have this much room too, because we're going to have to add these little bicones to balance the other side of the ring. So when you're doing this and you're measuring this around your finger or around your mandrel or however you want to do it, make sure you allow for about a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever, of these little guys here, 1/4 inch. So go ahead and make as many units as you think you need for the size ring you want. I am going to make about 6 units, and then I will be back. Okay, so I have made my little 6 units of right angle weave, and now I need to connect back to the other side of my ring here. So what I'm going to do is, at this point, I have to add this accent and then connect it to this color and then connect it to the druck. So we're going to start with our accent color. We're coming out of our 8/0 here. We're going to pick up a 4mm bicone in the accent color, and then we're going to pick up an 8/0 and a 4mm bicone, just like this. We're coming out of this side of our 8/0 seed bead right here. We're going to go into the opposite side, and we're going to pull, just like that. Flip it over so that you can see it better, and then sew through this entire unit again. Secure it, make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want any slack. You want this to be nice and neat. And we're going to come back up through till we get back to our 8/0. And then we're going to pick up our other color 4mm bicone like this, drop it down, turn your work over, and come over to the druck on the other side. Now you just want to go right through the druck. Let's see, did I know? Yes, we need to pick up an 11/0, excuse me. So you will have a 4mm bicone and an 11/0, and you will come up through this druck right here. Try to avoid the 11/0s on the other side of the druck and pull, just like this. Then you will pick up another 11/0 and your last Bicone crystal, just like this, and you will come through the 8/0 on your band and pull. Now, hold underneath it and just pull everything up nice and neat and tied up against this drug here the best you can. And then sew back through the entire unit. And you want to sew through this unit twice or more if you have plenty of thread still and you want to secure it even more. That's probably a good idea. You can't over secure this part. Okay, so I'm going to go up around it one more time here. Go through my drug. Come back down into my bicone here. And then through my 8-0. Down into this bicone here. And now I am going to place 11 O's between these 8-0 units here. So what I'm going to do, I'm coming right out of this little bicone crystal. I'm going to pick up an 11 0 seed bead and I'm going to slide into the next bead right here. And I'm going to do this all the way around the length of my band. I'm just placing an 11 0 seed bead between the 8 O's. This will kind of cinch in your band a little bit, so if it's a little large to start with, it will shrink it down. If it's too small, it's going to make it smaller, so you might want to consider that when you're making your units. When you get here, go ahead and grab another 11 0. Place the 11 0 between the bicone crystal and the 8 0, like this. Sew up through, you're coming out of the bicone crystal now. Sew up through this 8 0 seed bead here. Come down through the bicone crystal. And start again, picking up your 11 0 seed beads. Place them between the bicone and the 8 0. And then just place them all the way, the entire length of the band. And when you get to the very last in your row there, go up through the bicone crystal, go into the 8 0 here, sew up into the bicone crystal up next to the 8 0, and then up through that little 11 0 right on top of that bicone, up through the drug here, into this little 11 0 right above it, into the bicones. Just go into your work and start sewing around. And here I'm going to make a half hitch knot and sew back down into my crystal and pull that knot in there, and just follow your work, follow your beads, your original thread path, and just sew around and tie knots until you pretty much run out of thread. Okay, so I sewed around all through the top and made half hitch knots and then cut my thread off. And this is what my ring looks like. This is the back of the ring here, the sides. Let's zoom in so you can get a really good look at both of the rings here. This is what they look like. I think this would be really pretty if you used a fire polish bead as your rounds too, or a pearl or a crystal. A 6mm round crystal would be really pretty also. With your bicones, that would be a really crystally blingy look. So anyway, I encourage you to try all different types of beads, and I will make several kits and put them in my store with different kinds of beads and different colors and stuff like that. So anyway, that's what this looks like. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you make a bunch of them. Have a good day. Bye-bye.